So this is where I run every day. I run this same trail. Now y'all can see there's a road over there, but it's far enough away from the road that this is where I run. And I do 5 miles. I have a turnaround point down here, which you'll probably see, which is 2.5 miles from my home, about 2.5 miles, and then about another 2.5 miles back, which makes it 5 miles. And so it is just beautiful here. And I got to thinking, I often do my wisdom and I record it while I'm out here. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll do something a little different. Instead of going home and making my videos, I'll just do them while I'm out here as my thoughts kind of ramble on. Or come to me. I shouldn't say ramble on because they really don't ramble on. They're wonderful spiritual thoughts. And so anyhow, I got to thinking about when I was growing up. And, I lived in Southern California when I went as a teenager. But prior to that, I grew up in Appalachia. And we moved around a lot. Sometimes we lived in a small town. But often we lived in the Hollers of Appalachia, West Virginia. Now you're going to see where I turn around down here. And so we had all kinds of words, and sometimes from one holler to the other, I couldn't figure out what they were saying because everyone spoke a different dialect, sort of, in the Hollers. And sometimes you had a Polish holler and an Italian holler, but they didn't call it that. They also had runs. And a run was a little bit different than a holler. A run was a holler, but it was sort of the beginning of the holler, and it was more level. The holler itself usually was a winding road that went up. These are both all in the country, and you go from a small town to a run, and then the run would lead into the holler. So we lived in runs and hollers and all that. And I grew up with well water some of the time and outhouses some of the time. I think I was brought home to a farm way out in the middle of nowhere for a short period of time in a holler. But it might have been a run. I'm not sure. I know it wasn't in any town. And I remember, I have a photo. I got to go find it, a picture of me in a little a laundry basket with pillows and everything. That was kind of my baby bed when I was first born. It was a little wicker type of straw laundry basket. And Grandma always made her fried chicken as I was growing up, and she only used little garlic powder, salt and pepper, and very small, inexpensive pieces of chicken. Best chicken. I've never been able to duplicate it, in an old cast iron stove. And she had a old cast iron. They heated their house with coal and wood, and so we'd all take turns sitting by the cast iron stove in the winter, and in the summer the only air conditioning we had was a fan in the window. So we usually sat out on the porch swing and told each other stories, and we all went visiting on Sundays. Sundays was our big visiting day, always to Grandma's, and then throughout the week we'd go to other people's houses and other relatives. And Christmas time was huge because we had so much family. We could never make it to everybody's houses, and we had family friends that were more like family than friends. My daddy, he lived in the holler until he died. I can't even remember the name of that holler. I was trying to think of it today. Can't remember it. So anyhow, he lived in the holler. He made dandelion wine and dandelion salad, and possum. Yeah, I didn't eat possum, but he would make it, and usually it was put in a stew, so that the stew, kind of covered up the possum. Sometimes I'd eat the stew and just leave in the possum. But it was all so good. It was all so good. And we didn't have car washes. We took our old rusted out cars and we just took them down to the creek, as we called it, creek. It was a creek, but we called it a creek, and we'd wash those cars by the creek. And we went swimming in a swimming hole. There were numerous swimming holes. I don't know how good they are now because of all the drilling and stuff like that. But they were really nice back then. We'd all go swimming in the swimming hole. And towns often had sections. Like my grandma lived in Georgetown. Now Georgetown wasn't a real town. It was a section of another small town. But it was more like a holler down in a valley with about 10 houses. Country. It was all wonderful. We had outhouses and, like I said, well water. The well water was so good. Oh my goodness, I do miss the well water. And we had one channel with rabbit ears. Usually didn't work all that well, so we usually just told each other stories in the evening. And that was wonderful. Talk about our days and everything. We drank out of jelly glasses. And I still do today. Now I have beautiful dishes, and my husband has to get after me. He says, quit saying words like get. And so I talk correctly. I say get. Quit saying, my son said yesterday, Mom, it's not yar for your, it's your. So usually on social media and in public, I will speak correctly. But when I get all riled up, I revert. And one of my friends said, I love when you get riled up. She said riled up. I called it riled up back then. So I love when you get riled up because I love to hear you talk because I can't understand a word you're saying. Which I love that. And so riled up in a good way. Be yourself. Be who you are. Your beauty and your authenticity and your success will come from who you really are, not from who you are not. Because you can only sustain who you are not for so long. And then what happens is people recognize you, and you've pushed away all the people that would have loved you for who you really are, and you've attracted people who don't love you for who you are, and they walk away. So be who you are, So moving to Southern California, I became a valley girl. So I had to really work hard on changing how I spoke because no one could understand me. I went out there looking like Ella Mae Clampett. Big hair and platform shoes and I think I might have had bell-bottom pants, I can't remember. But anyhow, polyester blouse for sure. I was really something out there. Southern California, Hollywood. And people say, where are you from? I say, well, Hillbilly Holler, as is what we called it, and back then. And they just really, I made so many friends. They took me out to dinner because they liked the way I was. And here I was trying to change it, because I was told, you don't talk right. You sound funny, you look funny. The Beverly Hillbillies in Hollywood, it seemed like. And then I met my husband, and well, he always bought and still does, buy store-bought garbage bags. And I never bought a store-bought garbage bag. We always used the paper bags that we got from the grocery store for our garbage. We thought it was a waste of money. So that drives him crazy when I do that. And so yeah, all kinds of things. We called dishes, push for push, tar for tire. We used to not have seatbelts back then. As kids, we'd sleep on the back floor with the hump in the middle of the car till we got home. If we were on some kind of 2-hour trip, we didn't usually go very far. We never really went on a vacation, but when I was about 11, we went to California, and I knew that's where I was headed. At 6 years old, I wrote Walt Disney a letter, and sent him a coloring book. I don't know if my mom ever really sent it out, but I said, Mr. Disney, I'm coming to Hollywood. I'm coming to Disneyland. It took me quite a few years later to get there, but I got there. And anyhow, I'm just kind of talking a little bit about my life, where I'm at. Be yourself again. Be who you are. Love yourself. Love where you've been. I believe that God places you where you're supposed to be, with those that you're supposed to be with, to create the story you're supposed to have, to divinely help other people. I think this is so cool. One of the Boy Scouts, which my son used to be, built these. and they're like garbage bins along the way, but people still, unfortunately, will throw trash on the ground, which drives me crazy. And so yeah, my mama always wore scuffed shoes, even though she had a closet full of nice shoes. My grandma always had the money to buy a pair of nice shoes, but she always wore shoes with rubber bands. She liked it that way. We drank out of jelly jars, and I still do. Sometimes I'll eat off the lid of one of those big old gallon. Look at that pretty golf course. Can you see it over there? Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the golf courses here. We live in a small southern town with a lot of golf courses. A lot of famous people come here and play golf, and I've met quite a few. Yep, met quite a few. So when I got to Hollywood, I was a teenager, and it was so cool and so neat, because it was what I wanted to be. And then I ended up in Palm Springs, which was really something, because it was so glitzy. And coming from the holler with one Appalachia TV channel, drinking out of jelly jars, here I was in Palm Springs, California. I thought I was really something. I boofed my hair up. It looked like Marilyn Monroe. And actually, that particular hairstyle I had at the time, a very famous, who's no longer with us, wasn't Marilyn Monroe. It was a more modern one. They ended up copying my hairdo. I always say she copied my hairdo, or they copied my hairdo, because I dated the guys that ended up making her a star. And but I broke off with them because I was dating all four of them, and well, they wanted a little more than I wanted to give. You know what I mean. And Grandma taught me right. She taught me with the Bible, and that's how I survived the Hollywood. I never took any drugs, alcohol at that time, or anything. Now and then I'll have a glass of wine now, but at that time, nothing at all. That's how I survived Grandma, because I was always afraid Grandma would come out of the holler and be upset with me. And I'll tell you a secret. I was known as Grandma's, or at least one of her favorite grandchildren. I'm going to say it that way. I was one of her favorite grandchildren. And so I didn't want to lose that status. So I made sure, I didn't want Grandma to find out. So I tried to do everything right. Met some very famous people, got to know some very famous people, and they're just like everybody else. Most of them now got sick and died and are gone. So famous people do die. They're human like anybody else, and I learned that really, really early on. I had some wonderful jobs, wonderful times, wonderful opportunity. Then I met my husband, and well, that's been a whole amazing journey of Jack and Diane, as you know how the song goes, Jack and Diane. 2 young kids having a great time, and I've been sharing 45 years of my home videos on YouTube. There's a crosswalk up here that I cross coming down my 2.5 miles. And they got the blinker lights, and they didn't have blinker lights before, but I complained so much on our local social media that they put up 2 blinker lights. But people still don't often stop. I don't know why, so you have to be careful. But anyhow. So yeah, so anyhow, I was kind of real ashamed for a long time of where I came from. I really was. And now I'm not. I'm proud, not prideful. Remember, be proud of who you are, but not prideful. They're 2 very different things. And always be humble. That doesn't mean humiliated. Humbleness is what successful people are, or those who become successful. So, anyhow, here I was, and then I realized I love who I am. One time I got sick and thought I was going to lose me. Yep, probably more than once. And that was a whole different story. I told that one. Been putting 45 years of home videos up on the YouTube channel, Ultimate Golden Girl Diana Brand Fairchild. So 45 years of my life has been up there on old home videos. Actually more than that, because I got some old reels too up there that don't have any sound to them, but I got those up. So actually like 70 years. Found those too. My husband actually found those. And yeah. And you know, success will find you when you're busy doing the right things and you're not looking for it. You know, recognition comes not to people who are seeking it, but for people who are doing the right things in their life. You know, you don't have to be begging or telling everybody, you know, who you are, what you are. None of that, okay? Push for push, tar for tire, fire for fire, dishes for dish, get for get. And we used to say half words, like remember that, for remember that, apartment for apartment, garage for garage. Oh yeah, I still say those words. My kids get after me. My adult son said to me yesterday, Mom, it's not your. I think I told you this already. It's your. He said it lovingly. And so sometimes I have to be reminded. But I love being myself and love being yourself, whoever you are. Love being you. You know what I'm saying? Love being you. So this is going to save me a little time when I get home, because I have a lot of things. I'm starting back to school this week. Y'all know I'm pushing 70-year-old college student. And finishing up my last semester. I've already been in college before. This is it. You know, I went back for a different degree. I'm not using it for anything. People say, oh, you're going to use it for something. And I said, nope, I'm not using it for anything. I got to hold the camera up because someone's coming down I don't get other people in the video. And today is a hot day, southern day here. And so if you see me holding my camera down, you understand. But anyhow, good morning. Good morning.
Wait, you asking if the dogs are what?
I don't know what they were talking about to themselves on the phone. But anyhow, so yeah. And so I've been putting up those 45 years of home videos. It's been a wonderful journey. I'm dusting off all my old VHS tapes from the attic. They're not, most of them aren't marked, so I have no idea what they are. And then I have to upload them to the old VHS to DVD converter. Then I have to upload them to a different format, and sometimes that's not always working for me. And I haven't found yet the right converter for some of the videos. Once I get them converted from VHS to upload them, I have wonderful, amazing videos. It's wonderful to see people that I haven't seen for years and years on these videos. Sent one the other day to a cousin, because I was the only one taking video back then. No, I don't. My aunt and uncle took videos since the 1950s. They were the only ones, and they were in California. They moved out there from the Hollers in the, I think, 1940s, early 1950s. I can't remember. And that's kind of, in part, indirectly, how I ended up in California. So, but they were taking home videos way back, but no one else. I was the only one. So my videos are some of the only videos that they ever have of themselves and of the people that they loved. And so it'll take me years, because I have thousands. When I say thousands, I have thousands. They're dusty, old, and up in the attic, and one by one I pull them out and have all these wonderful memories. So if you're not watching, I hope you get over to my YouTube channel, Ultimate Golden Girl Diana Brienne Fairchild, and watch some of them. They're real good. I've talked about my husband's cancer journey and how he's now 100% cancer free, and he had end-stage cancer 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, and they gave him a truckload of chemo, and I got sick as a reaction. I know that's a whole nother story. And we're both, both got better. And so when the chemo didn't seem to do anything, I asked the doctor, can I put him on a supplement, which was called, I think, Graviola. I'm not recommending it to anybody, just a simple supplement. And put him on one of those anti-cancer diets. I kind of pieced together myself. It was no sugars and no starches and all that, and it may not work for other people. None of it may, but it seemed to work for him with his type of cancer. Here's the crosswalk and the sign that they put up because I complained so much, but I did it nicely and politely. And there's another one up on the other end. So, boy, it's hot out here today. I don't know what it is. It's humid. And I'm going slower today than I normally do. So I run, I walk, and I waddle. I'm not going to do the crosswalk. That's the only car that stopped for me. Only car. Boy, they were nice. Weren't they nice? That's the first time anybody has stopped. Well, not the first time, but boy, on a rare time. That was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Anyhow, so there are good people. Lots of good people out there. And then there are lots of not so good and some dumb people too, I guess, if you want to call them that. People, I shouldn't say dumb. I should say they're dumb decisions. Because there are no dumb people, they're just dumb decisions. And see, now I come in on that way over there, and then I go back on this way. And so, yeah, let's see. I think that's an electric car there. Yep, I'm pretty sure that one was an electric car. We're getting a lot of electric cars around here. And, yeah, there's the country club. Yeah, a lot of these here. A lot of these. And, okay. So, I'm trying to think if I can remember anything else I recorded this morning I wanted to tell you. The words we said, the fried chicken, the wonderful memories. Oh, stop. Thank you. Thank you. They stopped, were real nice. Okay, here I am. That was real nice. When you see the garbage, I'm not going to pick that up because I don't have anything to pick it up with and put in. But see, that's what I'm saying. Why do people do that? You know, that's awful. And everybody knows me in the town. Everybody. They say, you're the lady who runs out there. You're the lady who goes to this place and that place. And all that. They all know me. Everybody. I don't think there's a person in this town that probably doesn't know me. In a good way. In a great way. I'm a nice person and I like to be considered nice. Now they're building a new house over there. Right there. That's going to be pretty. Real pretty. I love it. You know, there are wonderful people on social media. I say 99%, but boy, there's some nasty ones too. Ooh. They tell me I look funny, talk funny, act funny. Some people can be real nasty. I just block them and then they make another channel and stop my channel. Come back and I'll block them again. They don't wear out. Some of them don't. I had one, I think they wore out. I kind of know who it was. They finally wore out. Then they started back up again. You know, yeah, I wish them all well. I just wish they'd leave my channels alone and leave me alone, you know. But unhappy people do that. Happy people don't do that. You know, if someone's a bully, I share my life. I don't share all of it. It's not everybody's business. You don't have to tell everything. You tell what you want. Tell the truth and tell it your way. And if someone is intrusive and wants to know more and you don't want to give it to them, don't give it to them. It's not their business unless it affects their life. You hear what I'm saying? Yeah. And I get on YouTube and dance every night because that's what I do. And TikTok and all the channels. Because I want to show them that older people, me pushing 70, can get in stiletto heels and still dance. Got to be careful because you saw what happened in my video last night when I was dancing. I was fine, but you know, you got to be mindful, especially when you're older. And I was going at it, dancing, and my shoe fell off, my stiletto, as I call them, high heels. Well, I really call them high heels. We didn't have a word stiletto back in the hollers. I guess they're stilettos and not high heels. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, I'm getting almost home. I cut through a neighborhood here. This neighborhood was never here. It was all woods when we first got here. And so I cut through the woods out here. This is my trail. Then they built this whole beautiful development behind our house. We have several acres of property, which is wonderful. It's like being in the country, and we're private back where we live, and we love it. And all these houses are very, very close together. I mean, beautiful homes. But I like having all my property. I really do. Of course, every other day someone wants to buy your property from you. And I say, no, I'm not moving nowhere. I'm going to be like the old lady in the Twilight Zone with Robert Redford. And Robert Redford played Mr. Death. He'd come to her door and she'd close the door, but she'd peep out the window, winding her grandfather clocks, I think. That'll be me, hopefully. And see, we have a lot of trucks around here. I have a truck. I drive a big pickup truck, just big bright red pickup truck, just like that. And it's got my fancy license plates in the front. And I gotta change those though. I'm gonna keep the same picture, but I need to change it a little bit on there. I don't need to. It looks great, but it looks great, and yet I may not. I don't know. I don't want to show that sign because I don't want people to know where I live. I'm gonna cut through here, cut through this neighborhood. So let me put a camera down and say, yeah, I don't see. Not 99% of people are wonderful, but you got that 1% out there. Well, you don't want them to know where you live. And okay, so I can bring it up again. Okay. So anyhow, out here, did my 5 miles almost home to back of my property, and loving it. Beautiful day. Start school tomorrow. Oh my goodness, it's going to be busy. I don't know how much YouTubing and TikToking I'm going to get up there for a while. I'm going to be real busy. My last semester, I got a great opportunity right now, and I want to start traveling again. I've talked about that in other videos. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I went to look for my suitcase I had forever from Hillbilly Holler days. It was an old blue-green Samsonite, one of those hard ones. I kept it out of good memory, great memory. Going to Hollywood, from the holler to Hollywood with that suitcase. But I think I donated it when I cleaned out my attic. I have some nice suitcases up there, but I need different ones, I think. So maybe my husband will buy me that for a gift, or I'll buy that for myself for a gift. These trees do become beautiful when they're first blooming. They got all kinds of flowers on them. Flowers are gone now. They'll come back, I think, in the fall. Okay, now here's where I cut through. Let me just put this down for a minute, like this. So see now, I cut through the woods here, a little bit of the woods. This used to be all woods. So I cut through. My girlfriend lives in the house. She invited me for coffee and cake this week. So I just walk back here and go to her house, and that's how I do it. But you see how pretty this is. It's so pretty. I love it. I'm out here 7 days a week, different times. Go to the gym 5 days a week. My age, dance pretty much every night in my high heels, stilettos. Well, I hope you enjoyed this conversation, okay? I know I'm going to forget all kinds of things. There's always more to say and more to tell you. Yeah, a lot more. Now that tree fell down. We've got to be careful of these big trees here. We've got lots of big trees. Now there's a dog that barks at me every time it's fenced in. I think it really likes me, but I don't know it, so I kind of stay clear of it. Now I don't know if it's out there today. 9 times out of 10 it's out there. Yeah, you got to be careful of these trees. We have a lot of them in our backyard. So we're always checking them, especially after a storm. Yeah, I don't think the dog is out here today to bark at me. That's okay. It's a nice dog, I think. But I'll keep my distance, you know what I mean? If you don't know it, you want to keep your distance. And, oh, this is a story about the fence. You know, they wouldn't put up a fence. Well, I'm the only one who got a fence. If you don't know that story, I decorated the back of my property in a way that looked hillbilly holler. And they put up that fence because they couldn't, probably, I don't know if they could sell the houses the way my yard looked. Hillbilly holler. Doesn't look that way now. But I actually took it down before they put the fence up, but they must have figured they better put the fence up again. So they put that fence up. Oh, here we are. I got it. I left the fence went up. I have a little entrance here. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Yep, I'm on my property now. On my property. On my property. Always have to check the fence rails, make sure they're all up. Yeah, I do. My big bright yellow house here. My big bright yellow house. This is from the back of it. Yeah, my big bright yellow house. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming along with my run with me. May God bless you. God bless yins. Oh yeah, we said yins, y'all, you all, y'all, yeah, y'all. All kinds of words I can't remember. Anyhow, I hope to talk to y'all soon again. May God bless you. Bye-bye.